Okay, good morning students. Today in this session of English at Aryan Gurukul, we are going to discuss a chapter that is a legend behind a legend. In this chapter, we will discuss about two legends, the legend and a legend. So two legends are here in this story. And this is written by Hariharan Balakrishnan, who is known to be a journalist, writer, columnist. Okay, and he has published so many articles in his in the page Hindu, and he has experienced one incident in Odisha, and he is narrating here in this piece of article. So in this article, he writes about his own experience about two legends and one after another. So a legend behind a legend, or due to one legend, another became legend. Legend means about a person, maybe a place or event. Okay, so this legend is related to a person who is known to be very remarkable and place of importance and event of importance. Okay, so the legend, or you can say about historical importance. So here he is narrating about two such legends who are historically so important that we must know about them. So in his article, he had mentioned these two legends, and here he says in the first unit about one of the legends, that is Khairi made the entire forest where she lived famous. Okay, so here the tigress Khairi made that place where it lived famous. So due to a person, the place also becomes famous. And he means to say she was not a bandit queen, but Khairi, the tigress of Jassipur. So that Jassipur became Khairi Jassipur. Okay, that Jassipur became Khairi Jassipur, Khairi Jassipur. So, in the name of Khairi, that place became well known or popular. Okay, so how this happened? That is, it was exactly 25 years ago when I spent 2 days and 2 nights with Khairi and the Menegri of Soroj and Nihar. So here another character comes, that is Saroj. Okay, and Nihar. Okay, so he read about Soroj and Nihar, okay, in a piece of news in the Statesman, that is one of the dailies in Odisha, and that happened in the forest Similipal in Odisha. So he became very much curious because that happened in his own state, and he came to know about that incident. So he became very much interested to go to that place and experience, okay, personally. So suddenly it struck to me that this was happening in my own state. I thought, why not attempt to experience it myself? So he planned. He planned a visit to that. So before that, he collected some information from different people, his colleagues, that journalists, and one of the journalists was N.S. Iyengar, who was a senior journalist in Berhampur, and some other elders, other senior journalists. He collected some information about the person Sorodraj Chaudhary, and they told him that Khairi was under the care of a rather gruff and tough man called Sarojraj Chaudhary, who brooked no nonsense and suffered no fools. So, according to them, what information he gathered from other journalists, that was that Sarojraj Chaudhary was a very rough and tough man. He was a very serious man. Okay, and he never gave opportunity to anybody to make him fool. Yes, he was very gentle and he was very cunning. So as he got that information about Sarojraj Chaudhary, he thought of being cautious about meeting Sarojraj Chaudhary. So what he did, he wrote a letter. I got his address and wrote asking if I could visit him for good measures, for his fortune. He got letter in reply. He got a letter in reply where it has been written, okay, it has been, he has been invited to that place. Why? Because in his introduction he had narrated some of his achievements, that he had written some itinerants. Itinerant means a plan of visit. Okay, where to go, how to go, when to go, so that it will be very much comfortable. Okay, so those things he had published in some articles in newspapers, and he, in his introduction, referred such articles to Sarojraj Chaudhary. Okay, and his it was shot in the dark. It was like a shot in the dark. That means he had never expected anything from Sarojraj Chaudhary. Casually he had written that letter, but to his utter delight, I got a letter within a week inviting me to Khairi Jasipur, giving precise instructions about how to reach there. So here he got a letter in reply welcoming him to Khairi Jasipur, and another thing, he had written in that letter that when he was planning to reach there and how he had planned to reach there. So Mr. Chaudhary also asked me to let him know in advance how and when I was reaching. Yes, so from this we can understand that he was a very serious person, very gentle in his approach, that he wanted to know in advance about his arrival so that he could give good time to him. Okay, so I gave him a date and said I would be taking a bus from Bhubaneswar on a particular night. So he wrote about his plan when he was supposed to go to Khairi Jasipur. Okay, then in the second unit, this is about the first unit. In the first unit, it has been introduced about the narrator, Sarojraj Chaudhary. Okay, and in the second unit, he writes, I packed my bag, took the train and boarded the overcrowded bus from Bhubaneswar. So anyhow, he reached Bhubaneswar, and therefrom he boarded a bus that was overcrowded. Okay, and I arrived sometime before 4 a.m. At 4 o'clock in the early morning, he reached Khairi Jasipur, and there he was just wondering. He was trying to find some place to live that dark time in the early morning. Okay, so in the meantime, wondering where to go in that semi-darkness, to my utter surprise. That means he had never expected that somebody should wait for him there in an unknown place. Yes, but to his surprise, within a minute there was the click of boots and a voice welcoming me to Khairi Jasipur. So there he heard the clicks of boots in the darkness, and a man was coming close to him, inviting him to Khairi Jasipur. Okay, so this is about his sensibility of Sarojraj Chaudhary, that he had arranged everything for the narrator Okay, Hariharan Balakrishnan. Yes, who was the guest of that day. The forest guard. He was the forest guard who had come there to invite him. The forest guard detailed to escort me, took me to the guest house, put me in my room, assured that water was in the jug. I could sleep as long as I wanted, and Shah would see me as soon as I was ready. So he narrated everything about his arrangements, that he should take him to the guest house. There he will arrange everything for his comfort, and in that period of time he could sleep for a while till the Saab, that means Sorojraj Chaudhary, was ready, okay, in the morning to meet. Okay, till then he could take some rest. Okay, so for his comfort, everything was arranged there. So from this activity, you can say that Sorojraj Chaudhary was a very sensible man. Yes, he keeps all the accounts of others' comfort. Okay, so I think I had an hour of blissful sleep. So he slept for a while, and I woke up with the start when I heard the unmistakable voice of the tiger just outside my door. Okay, so he got up early in the morning, yes, and he managed to meet. But how he got up? With the sound, with the voice of a tigress. He had never expected. So he was terror struck. He was afraid of that sound. I was terror struck. Within a minute, a bearer came to the room with hot tea and biscuits. He smiled at the expression on my face and assured me that it was only Khairi outside the door making friendly inquiries about the new guest in the house. I finished my tea, had a quick shower, and went to the main house. So he went there, and he managed to meet Sorojra Chaudhary, and there he found Sorojra Chaudhary in such a position that a sloth bear was holding him from back, okay, around his stomach. So there Sorojra Chaudhary greeted him with a handshake and instructed the sloth bear, okay, to be normal, and he found that Sorojra Chaudhary was not the man as he had imagined. He was a frail man in his 50s. Frail means weak. Okay, and he was not so strong enough. He was very weak in his stature, and balding on the top. We got talking. I didn't find a gruff and rough, no nonsense man. What I found was one of the most human being. So human being, here you see Humane and Human. Here are two meanings. Human means man. Okay, but this human means humanity, the quality of a person. Okay, so human with all the human qualities. Okay, so he found such a man with all the manly qualities or humanly qualities. Okay, but what he had been told about Surodra Chaudhary was proved wrong when he met personally. Okay, then next is in unit 3 you will see here is the first story that emerged from this very unusual man between sips of coffee. As you will see, I have different spices of wild animals in this house. So here he says, that means he experienced. That was the menagerie, that means where all the wild animals were kept, okay, in under one roof, and he found so many different species of animals there. And Sorojra Chaudhary told him that I have different species of old animals in this house. They all came in at different stages of their lives. So those animals, those wild animals have been collected from different places in different conditions and in different stages of age. Okay. I have debunked the theory that they cannot coexist unless they are together from infancy. So, this was the theory that when the animals are kept closer right from their birth, then only they will be closer to each other. But he has disproved this. He had proved that that was wrong. At any age, they could be brought together and put together so that they could be friendly to one another. Okay, so debunked. Debunked means disproved. Debunked means disproved, means proved wrong. Okay, he proved that wrong. And one thing I wanted to experiment with was the reaction of a younger tiger to a snake. So here a tiger and a snake both are of different species, but how they could be so familiar to each other, so close to each other. So one day he narrated the story. One day when Khairi was much younger, we found a baby crate in the house. As you know, crate is one of the most poisonous snakes. I was noting Khairi's reaction to its presence. So there, incidentally, there came a snake where Khairi was kept. And Khairi then was very young. And there what happened? He was noticing each and every action and reaction of the animals, and Khairi was curious to know more about this strange new creature. Every time the crate got too close to Khairi, I would pull it back by its tail. So as it was going very much closer to Khairi, he was pulling the crate. Crate means a poisonous snake. Okay, with its tail from behind, and this went on for some time. At some point, I must have been a little unmindful. It turned around and bit me. So, sometime he became so unmindful, absent minded, that the crate moved back and stuck him. Okay, so beat him. And due to that biting, I immediately tied a tourniquet over that and got the poison out. I saw the doctor as soon as possible. That means from this we get an information about the crate. When it bites, when it bites, then immediately we have to see the doctor without any late. Okay, so he got cured. Anyhow, he was out of danger, but luckily it was a baby crate. Still, some of the poison got into my bloodstream, and as a result, I am now a permanent patient of hypoglycemia. Hypoglycemia means always his blood pressure remained low. Okay, and he suffered low blood pressure throughout his life. So, by the time he finished this astonishing story. So this was astonishing story that what happened with him. Yes, it was not so easy to keep all types of animals together under one roof. Okay, but he had kept that. Jumbo took a fancy to me and climbed behind to give me his bear hug. Okay, there was the bear and it was called Jambu. A stern no from Suraj was enough to dissuade him from the expression of fondness. As the day progressed between our conversations and intermittent means continuously in regular intervals. Okay, that is called intermittent crackle of VHF. VHF means a very high frequency wireless set by which he was giving instruction to his men in the forest. I got to know a veritable joint family that was living inside the compound. So he had kept so many types of species, okay, of animals. Okay, so those animals were a mongoose, a pangolin, wild cat twins, a country dog, and a blind hyena. Okay, and each had a name, and they were given a pet name. Okay, so all these type of different animals of different species were kept under one roof under the care of Suraj Raj Chaudhary. Okay, so this was his speciality, and in another he writes about his experience that Khairi's story started on October 5th, 1974, when 12 Kharia tribals of Similipal brought a 2-month-old tiger cub to Sorodra Chaudhary, an officer of Indian Forest Service. So then, Sorodra Chaudhary was a forest officer, okay, in the year 1974, and that tiger, Khairi, had been brought by some Kharia tribals. That's why its name was Khairi. Yes, so this was the secret, or this was the story behind Khairi, okay, about its name. And it was, Soros noticed that it was a female tiger and famished. Famished means hungry. Okay, it was quite hungry then, and it was confused. It was an infant. Okay, it was a baby tigress. His first experience of what was to become his passion in life was angry snarls and scratching claws. So, right from the beginning, right from the infancy, a tiger is always angry. Okay, so from its activities, that scratching the crown, okay, with its nails, that was the instinct of any tiger or tigress. Okay, right from infancy. But the veteran forester Sorodra Chaudhary, an instinctive lover of wildlife, knew how to handle a hungry, angry cub. Okay, but he was very much experienced, and he knew how to handle this. So, what he did, he controlled the anger of that cub. So how it happened, how he made it? He imitated the sounds of mother tigress. So he created a voice of a tigress with which he controlled the cub. And within minutes, her confidence was firmly anchored. Anchored means controlled in the fostering human. So he was the foster father of the tigress. So he made himself a parent to the tigress, okay, the baby tigress, and is how he recalled those first few minutes between the legends. So here two legends, Sorodra Chaudhary and Khairi. Okay, these two are legends. So due to Sorodra Chaudhary, Khairi became the legend, and due to Khairi, Sorodra Chaudhary became a popular person or a legend. Early next morning. So this is the experience the narrator got being there with Suraj Chaudhary in his short stay. Okay. So early next morning, Suraj started for his inspection of tiger reserve area. So he went to the forest area, and I tagged along in the jeep and snaked through the narrow road in the woods amidst lush foliage. So in the greenery, in that trees, he went inside the forest in the snake movement. Okay, and my mother gave me a gun for my 8th birthday, and Sarojra Chaudhary narrated about his childhood days that once his mother had presented him a gun. Okay, and as a young man, I shot wildlife with abandon. So then, as he was young and on 8th birthday, that means when he was at the age of 8, he had been presented a gun, okay, by his mother. And then he did not know anything, but he used that gun for killing so many wild animals. But now he understood, but soon I realized that there is greater happiness in conserving these beautiful animals that do no wanton harm to man. So as long as a wild animal is not harming any person, we should not kill him. Okay, so better to preserve them, to save them. So one could get more happiness of preserving or reserving the wild animals rather killing them. Okay, so is one of the things he told me about his life during that long travel. Okay, so that he got some of the informations about his childhood days and how he became so interested in the preserving the wild animals. At that time, he was an authority on the tiger and a director of Project Tiger in India. So there he was the project tiger of India. Soros introduced a tiger tracing method. So tiger tracing method. Okay. So the narrator came to know about the method of tiger tracing and how the census, the population of tigers were kept, where the pug marks means footprints. Pug marks means footprints of each animal with distinctive measurements and characteristics are meticulously recorded. And from those footprints of different animals, those were recorded and their census was recorded. Okay, their population was recorded. For the night, we camped at a guest house deep in the jungle. So there they stayed in the jungle, okay, in a guest house, and it was a wooden structure with functional rooms and a bath. So there was every comfort to live in. Okay, that guest house, and it was built on a stilt. Stilt means top of the tree and stood a good 15 feet above the ground. 15 feet above the ground on the treetop, that house was built and there he lived for a night. So, what an experience. And I experienced for the first time on one night atop the magnificent mancha. Okay, so mancha is the Odia word he uses here for that guest house. Okay, and then in the fifth unit you will see I went to Khairi Jasipur again after 3 months. Okay, so that was his experience that he lived there. Yes. So he went there once and after 3 months he revisited that place. But as I wanted to know more about Khairi, Soroj was gracious enough to welcome me once again. In addition to my old friends in that house, this time I found a 8 foot long addition, a young python. So that this time, after 3 months when he went, he found another guest there. Okay, that was of a long python, 8 foot long python, and that was also brought from the forest in different conditions, and it was kept closer to the other animals. Okay, so within the next couple of hours, I continued my quest of the man of his passion. So after meeting him, he talked with him, and he came to know about other passions of Sorodra Chaudhary. But then there was a wireless message from World Wildlife Fund. So that was from Delhi, he got a phone call. Okay, and due to which Sorojara Chaudhary was asked to immediately catch a flight for an important meeting at New Delhi the next day. So Sorojara Chaudhary got an appointment from that worldwide life fund, and there he had to go there the next day. So their meeting was very short. So the narrator wanted to stay with him, get more experience from Sarojra Chaudhary, but unfortunately that could not happen. Okay, and then we drove to Dum Airport in West Bengal. Okay, so they went to Dum, and I saw him off at Calcutta. Okay, see off. See off means took leave. Yes, so he saw for him at Calcutta, Dum Airport, and that was the last time I met this legend behind a legend, and that was their last meeting, okay, at Dum Airport. And after that, in just over 3 months, after 3 months, what happened? Khairi died for some reasons. And Sorojraj Chaudhary did not live much longer. After the death of the tigress, Khairi, Sorojraj Chaudhary also could not live longer. Okay, after some months, he also died. And that was the end of both the legends. Okay, so how they were so attached to each other that when one dies, another also can't live. Okay, so a unique tale of the tiger ended there. So here, that was the end of the story of a tiger. And a salute is due at least 25 years hence. And after that incident, even after 25 years, it is still waiting for a salute to these legends, both Khairi and Surajraj Chaudhary. So that was the end of the story about these two legends. So here after 25 years, this is the memory we have to energize or to recollect about these two legends. Okay, so this is about the legend behind a legend, and a person can be a legend if he creates some legends. Okay, so this is all about our legend behind a legend, and hope you understand this. But my advice is to all of you that to read it thoroughly and try to understand from your own end and prepare for the examinations. Thank you. Thank you very much for being with me today in this class. Thank you.